IELTS Booster, Discover 4A. Hello.
Hello,
Can you introduce yourself for me, please?
my name is Quang. I'm 11 years old and I go to Quang at this year.
Good, excellent stuff. What's your favourite subject in school, Quang?
My favorite subject of school is English because it's really fun and you learn a lot from it and you can use a lot from it.
Do you think that English is going to be important in the future for you?
I think it is because maybe I need to communicate with foreigner at my job, so I think it is going to be important.
Okay, good, excellent stuff. So let's move on to the test. So we've got three different parts to this test here. We've got the first part, which is going to involve me asking you some questions. The second part will involve a little bit of note taking and basically having a discussion. And the third part will involve a few more questions. So the first part is about being patient. Okay. What do you do while you're waiting for something? Let's say, for example, the bus.
When I wait for the bus, I usually sit there, listen to music, check up on some news, just do things to wait for the bus, like normal things.
Okay. So why do you feel like you end up doing these things while you're waiting for the bus?
Because I feel like when I'm doing it, it kills a lot of time, so I don't feel that the time is going too slow.
Okay. Good. Excellent stuff. Can you tell me a time that you felt impatient or that you really lost your cool because of the amount of time that you had to wait?
And there was this one time when I did this presentation at my school, like I did a lot of work, but like the rest of the group was doing nothing, so I got a little, I saw a little tantrum, but after that they all did it, and I get my cool back again.
Okay. Would you describe yourself as a patient person?
I don't think I am that patient, but I don't get impatient often.
Okay. So why do you think you're not as patient as what you could be?
Because I feel like time is going too fast, so we should really enjoy and take every moment in our life.
Okay. Let's talk about your fellow countrymen. Do you think that people in this country are patient or impatient?
I think some people are patient, but majority of people are impatient, so that leads to like a lot of bad things we have done.
Why do you think that people in Vietnam are, or generally, why do you think generally people in Vietnam are more impatient than patient?
I think generally people are impatient because of the work, they are stressed, they want to move on with their day, so they just keep going impatient and do stuff quickly without thinking.
Okay, that's good. Excellent stuff. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the second part of the test here. So the second part here is an interesting old object. So interesting old object. What I want you to do is I want you to describe an object that your family has. Okay? I want you to tell me what it is, where it came from, and how long your family has kept it. Okay? I also want you to explain why your family thinks this object is interesting. We're going to give you this, which is a notepad and pen. You don't have to use it, but if you would like to, it's there. All right. I'm going to give you 1 minute to write down a few ideas and do some note-taking. Do you understand?
Okay.
Excellent. So your time starts now. So, what can you tell me about this interesting old interesting object? What can you tell me about it?
My grandma have this tool one. It's like really old. She used it to pray and do religious stuff. I think my grandma kept it that long because she will have she don't want to change to new stuff. She wants to keep a connection with the past.
Okay. Do you know what kind of coin it is?
An old Vietnamese kind of coin.
Okay. Do you know how long she's had it for?
I think since before I was born.
Okay. Could you hazard a guess? Could you guess how old
Maybe
you
like
think?
15 years.
15 years old? Yeah. Okay. Why do you think that you were talking about a connection with the past, which is an excellent point. Why do you think that's important to her?
Because she wants to pray, so she wants to keep everyone in the family feel safe and have a good day.
Okay, good. Excellent stuff. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll move on to part 3. So part 3 is just going to be a little bit more in this topic about history. Okay, so we spoke about why your grandmother kind of kept hold of this coin for a long period of time. What I'd like to know is, why do you think people hold on to things that remind them of the past? Why do you think that's an important element to people?
I think people hold on to the past because maybe like if someone lost their dearest one in the past, they want to show like a reminder to make them happy, like feel like that person is still next to them, or something that is important is still next to them.
Okay, good. I'd like to hear some suggestions from you about whether all historical buildings should be kept. Do you think they should all be kept?
I think they should all be kept so they could show that how people have developed through the time.
Okay. Let's talk about buildings where potentially bad things or tragedies have happened. What do you think about those kind of buildings? Do you think they should be kept, or do you think they could be removed, or do you think?
I think they should be kept so like maybe like the towers that happened in 9/11.
Yeah.
It could be a place that people could memorize their old ones so they don't feel lost.
Okay, that's a good nice answer. Now let's talk about objects, things that people make, for example. Do you think that objects that were made in the past are better than modern day ones?
I think they're not as good as modern day because of the materials they used to use. It's not as sturdy as today's, but we can still keep them in the museum to like see.
Okay, let's talk about things that I assume that your grandparents still have some old objects. Yeah. Why do you think that they keep hold of those ones and don't buy newer ones? Why do you think that they still use their old objects, like a TV, for example?
I think they still kept those things because maybe they still feel comfortable with all the things and they don't need to like upgrade to a new modern TV.
Okay. Let's talk about museums. What types of museums do you know are in Vietnam?
I know the cultural Vietnamese museum that contains all of like the ritual, all of the ethnicity that Vietnam used to have, which is great because they can show us all kind of people that Vietnam includes.
Okay. Have you ever been?
Yes, I have been there.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I did.
Good, excellent. Okay, so the next question I'd like to ask is, do you think that museums are the best way of teaching people about the past?
I think museum is one of the best way, but there are still many ways, like maybe pictures or like just teaching history at school.
Okay.
It's also a good way, but museums like show real objects, so you can see it clearer.
Good, excellent. Now let's talk about these museums that we have in Vietnam, or what you have in Vietnam. How do you think that they can attract more tourists or more people to them?
I think museum can attract more tourists by maybe advertise them or give give them a new old object so like people can study them.
Okay, so when you mean advertisement, what kind of advertising do you think would be most beneficial or most productive for these museums?
I think maybe phone ads because people use phones a lot and maybe a lot of people that use phone is interested in history.
Okay. Do you think that holding museums, or do you think that having exhibitions in museums is an important thing in Vietnamese culture? Do you think it's important to recognise people's history here in Vietnam?
Yes, I think it is important because we can show that everyone in Vietnam is important and make this whole Vietnamese community.
Okay, good, excellent stuff. Okay, and that concludes the video test.